Joining us right now with a look at crypto in the year ahead is Rob Hadick. He's the general partner, Dragonfly, a crypto-focused investment firm. We've been talking about Bitcoin and crypto all morning. Crypto's not had a great year at the moment. I don't know if you think we're in a crypto winter. I don't know where you think we go from here.
Yeah, so it hasn't had a great year, but I think it's important to zoom out, right? So if you look at the returns for Bitcoin relative to the day before the election in 24, Bitcoin's up about 26%, NASDAQ's up about 28%. If you look out, even further than that, 2 years, Bitcoin's doubled, NASDAQ's up 50%. So I think it's a little bit too myopic and a little bit too, call it, zoomed in to just talk about this year on an asset that's kind of run up that much over that period of time.
So if that's the case, where do you think we go? We have some folks on the technical side who say we can go lower from here.
Yeah.
Others who think there's a floor. Others who think we're going to the moon.
Yeah. So I'm not a technical investor. I'm a long-term investor. We're a VC fund, but I continue to see a strong and constructive 2026.
When you are you a Bitcoin guy? Are you an Ethereum guy? Are you a Solana guy? What's your
we invest
flavor?
Across the ecosystem. So we're venture capital.
Right.
We invest in everybody that's doing anything that's interesting in tokenized digital assets, crypto. We are large investors in Polymarket. We're large investors in a lot of stablecoin companies, but we're also investors in everything across, DeFi, the Ethereum ecosystem, Solana ecosystem. We're not what I would say ideological about crypto. What we are is investing in the future of innovation and financial markets.
Well, but what does that mean? I mean, in the context of where crypto itself goes.
Yeah, so I expect a good 2026, right? So for the token prices themselves, Bitcoin, Ethereum, there's likely to be continued momentum, I think, from a macroeconomic perspective. I think we'll have better monetary policy. And then we're going to have more and more adoption of tokenized assets. We're starting to hear it from the biggest asset managers in the world. McKinsey just said that they think 3% of all cross-border payments is happening in stablecoins right now. That's up from basically 0% a year ago. I expect another tenfold increase in that.
So within the world of crypto, if you could only do one thing, you'd invest in which part of it?
I'd invest in VC funds that invest in the, technical innovation.
That's not a fair answer. I'm saying in the specific side of, would you say to yourself, stable coins are the future? If that's true, for the public investor out there, would you invest in Circle? Do you think there's more competition coming?
There's definitely more competition coming.
Therefore, you wouldn't invest in. So what's?
Yeah, so stablecoins I think is here to stay. I think it's going to grow tenfold. I think prediction markets here to stay. I think they're going to grow tenfold. When you look at how you get exposure to that in the public markets, it's either call it the base layers, the Ethereums, the Bitcoins, or it's Circle or something like that.
You mentioned prediction markets.
Yep.
There is a question. By the way, it very well may grow tenfold. The question is whether there's going to ultimately be a lot of consolidation in this space, and whether you see a sort of confluence of the quote-unquote prediction markets and the sports betting books basically merge together, given the audience size that some of the sports betting books already have, and whether that makes more sense, or whether you think the prediction markets effectively overtake the success of the sports betting books. I don't think that's true just yet in terms of just the sheer number of people that are betting in the prediction markets is still small.
That's true, right?
And so the question is whether you think that there is a sort of mass market where everybody's going to be betting as much as the sports books or more. Sort of what does the TAM of that market look like? Total addressable market.
So I think it's humongous, right? So if you look
humongous, meaning more than sports?
I think it's more than sports. Absolutely.
You do?
Right. So if you look at Polymarket volume today, they've gone from 50 million a month in early 24. They're now going to do probably about 4 billion of volume this month, right? Only about 35% of that is sports. Kalshi's a little bit different. It's more of a sports platform because they're infrastructure for Robinhood. But for Polymarket, it's about 35-40%.
Okay.
If you talk to Jeff Sprecher over at ICE, right, he'll tell you he believes in the tokenization of all markets. Like, he believes that is the future. I talked to him before he did the investment in Polymarket, and I can tell you that his perspective is that this is going to be as big as ICE itself, probably, right? I think when you start thinking about what are the use cases, okay, I talked to an insurance company maybe a month ago that was thinking about how they can hedge out risk in weather-related activities, right? That's just one use case in every single thing in every single market and every single outcome that can be put in a prediction market, or really just a binary option, which is what it is.
So I don't even know enough about this to be dangerous, but we had Demuch on, and he wrote a book about Solana.
Yeah.
So I had to study for that, and I found it very interesting that there is a debate between Ethereum and Solana as to who will eventually be the ecosystem for I don't know, even trading securities instantaneously through, I don't know, tokenization. Does one have an advantage? One's more secure, one's faster, one takes more nodes, one less nodes. You own both?
So we definitely own both. We're exposed to all ecosystems.
Do you think, can you pick one as being more advantageous? Will both of them survive and flourish?
Yes, absolutely. There's a lot of demand, and I see a lot of demand coming in the future for block space, or essentially, the blockchains themselves, right? Most stablecoins today are on Ethereum. Ethereum is where a large amount of, call it the economic activity exists, what they call value locked, right? But if you look at the trading volume, it's happening more on Solana, which is more optimized for that type of transaction flow and for low cost transactions. And so I think we're going to see different use cases on different blockchains, and they're all going to
see. I want you to tell me which is Betamax and which is what was it, a VC? I want to know which is.
I think they're
which is
both
MySpace
VHS.
and which is Facebook.
No, they're both Facebook, right? So
they're both.
Yeah. There's a lot of room in this market, right? If you believe that most assets are going to be tokenized, if you believe that there's going to be significant amount of economic activity on chain.
By both Ethereum and Solana?
No, but if you just believe in that thesis, right? Like you can't just have one blockchain. Like one blockchain is not going to be able to scale large enough to be able to have that economic activity.
And why don't you believe some other technology emerges that's better?
Well, I mean, right now we've seen people do things like basically databases that are we're blockchains, but it's within our closed loop ecosystem. But if you want to say, okay, well, I'm JP Morgan and I'm going to have a tokenized deposit, right, which they do, right? But I want to interact with Goldman and I want to interact with Citi, but I want to do so in a manner where I want to bring them into my ecosystem. Goldman doesn't want to do that, right? They want to meet you somewhere in the middle, some other service provider.
No, I get it. I'm just wondering why we don't believe in the same way that people thought that Bitcoin was actually going to be the blockchain mechanism for a while. Yeah. And then Ethereum came along and people said, that's a much more efficient, better version of this. And then all of a sudden people said, oh, there's this thing called Solana. That's actually even more efficient and a better version of this. I mean,
and you point out, and Cathie Wood lowered her eventual target based on Bitcoin not being as important, and these other things displacing.
And so that's my question. Hopefully technology gets better. So to believe for some reason that these guys and this particular blockchain has somehow cornered the market is something I don't really understand.
Well, I agree with you. We're going to continue to see innovation at the blockchain level, right? So there's a new blockchain that just launched called Monad, which we're invested in.
What's it called?
It's called Monad, which we're invested in, which is trying to be a Solana killer, right?
What's the symbol?
It's MON, Mon.
And what's it trading?
It's about a $2 billion valuation today.
No, but what's it cost for one?
What's it cost for one? It's like 0.002. So.
Sounds like
that's right. That's in your price range.
Okay, what could go wrong there?
Well,
everything.
Yeah, with early. I mean, this is early stage technology, right? So the one thing that happens in crypto is people launch these tokens when they're still basically early stage companies, right? It's technology. We're going to continue to see more innovation. I expect that we're not done in what's going to happen in crypto, and we're going to see more innovation at the blockchain level.
Hi guys, don't forget to sign up for a free daily update